Yo, welcome to Choo. My name is Jacob and I love hot sauce. I also founded, own and operate a small foods company that specializes in chili sauce. So I guess you could say I am an expert, well, at the very least, professional or semi-professional hot sauce maker. I make hot sauce for a living. So in this video, I thought I'd share some tips and tricks on how you can make your own hot sauce. And the best part about this is it's going to have excellent shelf life. It's going to be shelf stable. So I'm going to talk a little bit about pH and acidity so that you can make a sauce at a professional level, safely knowing that it's going to be able to sit on a shelf indefinitely without going off or fermenting, all this sort of stuff. The best part about this recipe though is this is just a foundation. Like, this is going to be very, very simple, very, very rudimentary, which is going to allow you to twist and tweak it, add and subtract and contribute your own sort of ideas. We're going to talk about balance predominantly, but you're going to be able to make your own hot sauce based on the different things that you enjoy. And we're going to talk a lot about different ingredients and stuff like that as we go along. If you are just starting out on your hot sauce journey, maybe you want to start it up as a hobby, or maybe even professionally, then this is the video for you. So let's make some motherfucking hot sauce, motherfuckers. The first thing we need to talk about is equipment, man. So you need a pot, easy. Maybe a ladle, and it's so spicy. A funnel. Something you're definitely gonna need is a blender or a stick mixer of some kind. So these little bar, what's out here? Go! So these little bar mixers are awesome. They're not gonna get it ultra fine, but they get the job done, and these are cheap as shit. The problem is that they do burn out. If you're doing this extensively, you're gonna burn through these motors. I've burned through 1 billion of these motherfuckers, which is why I upgraded. Look at this monstrosity. It's not light. This thing is an absolute unit. This is a commercial stick mixer now. I do this because I run a food company. So unless you want to burn through $1,200, you don't need something like this. Just get a little fella like that. You're set. Or if you've got a blender, that works fine. I'm going to show you how to make the sauce based on our Choo style, which is a little bit chunkier. Now, it's not that traditional. It's what sets us apart from the competition. Our chunky sauces, people seem to dig it. There's two ways of getting the consistency right. One is get something absolutely monstrous, or a really good Thermomix or something that will just puree the absolute crap out of your sauce, or you can strain it through a sieve or something like that. Personally, I like the chunkiness. That's our style. But like I said, this recipe you're going to be able to tweak and twist to make it your own anyway. We don't peel any of the fruits. We don't take out the seeds. We use all whole foods in our sauce. We just smash it in there, and that's our jam. Mostly we did this because we were lazy, but people seem to dig it, you know. So remember, chilies are not all about heat per se. Obviously, different varieties have different heat ratings. It's all about different flavors. Like, different chilies have different flavors. It's pretty obvious when you think about it, but not everyone considers that. They just sort of assume that chilies just get hotter and hotter, but they're actually, the flavor profiles are all over the joint. So you gotta pick your favorite chili. What's your favorite chili sauce? If you don't really know, go and buy your favorite hot sauce and see if you can find out. It might be written on the bottle. Some say, some don't. FYI, all of our hot sauces specify the variety of chili, not just chilies. We don't legally have to do that. We do it anyway because as chili enthusiasts, I think it's important to know what sort of chili is in there. Find your favorite chili. In this sauce, I'm using a Thai red. It's about 100,000 on the Scoville. To put things into perspective, a jalapeno chili, the most common variety on earth, really, the most widely cultivated at the very least, is about 8,000, can be 8,000. So this is about 10 times hotter than a jalapeno. So I'm gonna throw a few Carolina Reapers in there because I like my stuff a little bit spicy, you know what I mean? I want to just crank it up a bit, but you can find your own. A really good variety of chili to use in a hot sauce is habaneros because they're really fruity and also really hot. Bird's eyes are again really fruity and also hot, not as hot as a habanero, but so find the variety of chili that you like. Then you can do whatever you want with it. You can grill it, you can fry it, you can smoke it. I wouldn't recommend using oils or butters or anything like that, but it's up to you. So there's so many opportunities here to manipulate that chili. So finding your own variety is going to add its own heat level, its own flavor. Then you can manipulate that by how you like to cook it. For this sauce, we're just throwing everything in a pot and we're just boiling it up. We're not going to grill it. We're not going to do any preparation. We're just chucking it in. Other than removing the stem, no prep. The next thing I think is really important is adding a variety of different other ingredients, fruits and vegetables and spices and whatnot, because I find the more diversity you have, the more complex the flavor profile might be. It doesn't mean that that specific thing is going to shine through, and that's something you can experiment with, like the ratios. Sometimes a simple sauce is good, sometimes adding a whole bunch of different stuff just creates a unique flavor. It's like adding two colors together to get a different color. You can add two flavors together to create a whole new flavor. It's kind of how hot sauce works. Onion and garlic are really common. Now, a lot of people poo-poo onion and garlic in hot sauce. I don't mean to make this all about plugging my company, but I'm going to plug the absolute shit out of it during this video. Not all of our sauces have onion and garlic in there, but onion is really high in sugar. It's delicious. Like, I've said it in another video. How good is it when you walk into a room, or you come home or whatever, you're at a barbecue and something's cooking, your partner, your wife, your mum, someone's cooking something, and you go, fuck, that smells good. What is that? And they're like, oh, it's just onion. All I've done is fried up some onion. Onion is delicious, and that's why we use it in sauce. It just works well. You don't have to use it, but we're using it because not only is it really cheap, nutritious, abundant, has delicious natural sugars in there, it complements the chili so well. You don't have to use it, but we're doing that. We're also going to throw a little bit of garlic in there. Pungent flavors. Couple of cloves. Adding fruit to a hot sauce is quite common. Fruits like tomato, which we're also adding in this one, not only adds a beautiful color and flavor, has that umami flavor, that meatiness. It's like really hearty. Tomatoes also have a very high acid content, which is really good for preserving and also just tastes fucking great. I'm a big fan of tomatoes. That's why I use it a lot. You don't have to. You can bulk it out with other things. You can use capsicum or bell peppers. You can use anything you want. Let's talk about how you get that shelf life going. Vinegar. I don't even have a bottle here. Well, anyway, everyone knows what vinegar is. Vinegar is the most common ingredient in hot sauce to increase the acidity level, to get that pH just right so that nothing goes off. If the acidity is at a certain point, the pH is below a certain point, you're not going to get bacterial growth. Yeast won't be able to function. Yeast is what creates fermentation. It's what creates alcohol. It's what creates gases, exploding bottles. So if your acidity is just right, you're not going to have that issue. Typically why hot sauce in fact, Smoking Ed Curry, the Guinness World Record holder for Carolina Reaper's hottest chili in the world, and now Pepper X, at the time of recording, just got the new record. He's the god of chilies. He's cultivated the hottest chilies on earth. He summarized it best in this little bit he did on YouTube, which said, the reason why hot sauce makers keep refrigerated, or why we even put expiration dates on there in the first place, is not because the sauce is going to go off necessarily. Nothing lasts forever, but the shelf life on these things is significantly greater than what we as hot sauce professionals put on there. It's for legality, because what happens is people, they take the lid off, they dump it on their food, a little bit of that food gets in there, or oils, or even potentially natural yeasts can get in there, or it sits out in the sun, which isn't going to hurt it too much, but it can, etc., etc. It's the introduction of contaminants that spoils a hot sauce, not the sauce itself. In fact, I've got a fucking sauce on the go here from 5 years ago. Let's have a look. Have a look at this bad boy here now. Look how old that label is. Also, we don't use these labels anymore. We're not using this logo. We're not doing barcodes, just QR codes. That's how I know how old this sauce is. It's so old, the expiration label is actually run off of it. You can have a look at that. Obviously been used. Look at this. Fully oxidized. This has been sat out on my bench for about 4 or 5 years now. No mold in the cap. No mold around the rim. Nothing. Perfectly preserved. Despite 90% of the bottle being empty, despite being sat out, despite obviously being used. It's because we got the acidity right. And it just reminds me of talking about Smoking Ed. As I mentioned before, there's a new hottest chili out, and new at the time of recording, the Pepper X, cultivated by Smoking Ed Curry. It's not commercially available for us to use as an ingredient, but of course I managed to get myself a bottle. So yeah, this is 91% Pepper X, which is about averages 2.6 million on the Scovilles. If you don't understand fucking how Scovilles works, it doesn't matter. Let's just say it's the hottest chili in the world. 2.6 million is very, very, very hot, which makes this this is probably the hottest sauce in the world, well, it definitely is, that doesn't use extracts. I'll explain what extracts are in another video. Essentially, you can isolate the chili component, the capsaicin, and artificially, essentially, boost that heat. As far as a natural sauce goes, this is as hot as it gets. which makes me want to call out my friends at Bunyip Adventures. My boys, Jason and Jamie, if you've seen this, I challenge you to have some of this sauce. Now, I don't know in what variety. These guys are absolute savages, by the way. I own and run a hot sauce company, and I cannot eat what these motherfuckers can eat. These guys are absolute psychopaths. I don't know what's going on inside here and here, but these guys are absolute monsters. So, if you're up for the challenge, I don't know, if we do a shot, you might die. What about a teaspoon? I don't know. We'll figure out the fine details, but I challenge you to the hottest chili in the world. I'll even have some with you. I regret saying that now, but I will. I imagine I'm going to die horribly. Like I said, these guys are just iron guts. Go check out their channel, Bunyip Adventures. It's phenomenal what these guys can eat. It blows my fucking mind. In fact, I don't know how they do it. So, if you're up for the challenge, boys, leave a comment. Let's get this shit going. Or maybe we can mix these notorious sauces together. We'll figure out the fine details later. The good thing about getting your pH right is that it actually tastes great. Like, vinegar really works well. Now, you don't want an overly vinegary sauce. This one is probably a little bit on the vinegary side, but like I said, you can manipulate that. You can change your type of vinegar. You can also add other acidic things to it, such as lemon or lime juice, which we have lemon sauces. We have sort of more fruity based stuff, which is going to increase that acidity. Like I said, tomato has a little bit of acidity in it. The reason we use vinegar is because it works. It stabilizes your hot sauce. The cool thing is you can use a whole bunch of different vinegars. You can create your own profile. We're using white vinegar today. A lot of my sauces have malt vinegar, which is really nice to give it more of a richer barbecue-y flavor. Apple cider vinegar is to die for. I don't think it's going to cure cancer if you rub it on a fucking melanoma, but it absolutely works good in hot sauce. We use a bunch of our sauces have apple cider vinegar. The other thing that we're doing, which is a little bit unique, especially in Australia, is we have alcoholic hot sauces. So we have a range of alcohol. So we're using ethanol to preserve the sauces. So you still use this sauce as you would any condiment. You splash it about. It's not a beverage, but it's very boozy. We use like essentially a white rum, a cane spirit, to preserve this sauce. So there's lots of different things that you can experiment with to create your own sort of preservation thing. The typical ratio is 25 to 35, so a quarter or a third of your overall weight should be your acidic sauce, i.e. vinegar. So in this sauce, we're doing about a third vinegar, and then we're going to squeeze some lemon in there as well. The best part about adding lemon is it's delicious. So it totally works in a sauce form. So vinegar, lemon mixed together is going to give your hot sauce a really decent shelf life. It's also going to taste great. So let's say you had a kilo of onions, chilies, combined, whatever it is, and then about a third of your overall weight should be something acidic, vinegar and lemon and lime juice. As long as you get that ratio right, you can swap out any of these ingredients, so really get creative. Next, we're gonna chuck all this in a big pot. Like I said, you can grill this, you can fry it, you can smoke it, you can do whatever the fuck you want, man. It's up to you. I just keeping this simple this time. Some of our sauces are a little bit more complex. We might grill some things up first, but in this particular sauce, throw it in a pot. You can add a little bit of water. Like I said, overall weight, you're going to evaporate a little bit of your water, so you might want to add water or a little bit more vinegar later. Simmer it for about an hour or two, depending on the quantity. Everything can be scaled appropriately, and then you're done. Let that cool. Then all you have to do is sanitize your shit, blend it up, bottle it. Baby, you got yourself a hot sauce. Okay. So this brings me to 2 points. Point number 1. Ventilation is important. Make sure you got plenty of ventilation, because when you're cooking with stuff like that, the chili, the capsaicin will take to the sky via steam. Breathe that shit in. Yeah, so make sure it's well ventilated. I mean, it's literally what they make pepper spray out of, and bear mace and stuff like that. It is capsaicin. It's capsaicinoids. So ventilation is important too. This fucking awesome thing that has absolutely saved me so much time in my business is far too powerful for this tiny amount here. This is a commercial stick mixer. Usually I'm doing a lot bigger pots. So I'm going to swap this one out. I really just wanted to show it off because it's an absolute fucking savage. It's basically an outboard motor. You could probably strap that on the back of a boat and off you pop. So we'll swap it out for this little guy. Anyway, it's not the size that counts. It's what you do with it. Right, guys? At least that's what my lovely wife keeps telling me. So, you know. Ventilation, important. That's fucking going everywhere. no idea how to use my camera, so if I'm out of focus, it's also a perfect time to have a taste. Go for as long as you want. On these little tiny bad boys, in a proper pot, that can take 20 minutes of blending. I've burnt out a fucking 1,000 of these, which is why I bought the big boy. But if you have a blender or more typically expensive equipment that's just fucking takes less time. Once you've blended it up, now's the perfect time to test consistency. If you've cooked it longer, or the lid didn't have a good seal, you might lose a bit to evaporation. So sometimes you will have to adjust until you perfect your recipe. Now, when you're mucking around with your recipes, make sure you write everything down, obviously, because the last thing you want to do is make a delicious hot sauce and then forget the ratios, because ratios matter, especially when you're adding things like ginger, which are tiny little amounts that can really alter the flavor quite dramatically. And black pepper is another example. There's countless examples. I'm a little bit nervous because this might actually be a bit hot. I don't know. I haven't eaten much today. So, smells good. Smells a bit vinegary. I usually don't put too much in there. I like to sort of subsidize with other forms of acidity, pineapple juice, lemon juice, etc. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's delicious. It's definitely more on the, definitely more on the sriracha side. It's more on the vinegary side. I'd probably want a little bit more sugar in that. But like I said, this is a base recipe that you can use and tweak. Now, the more diverse ingredients you add, sometimes simplicity is good, but the more diverse ingredients you add, the more complex flavor profiles you get. I think that's really, really important. I would say this is a fantastic foundation. Absolutely delicious. A lot of our sauces are pretty much this. We do add a lot more complex things in there. Some of our sauces have sultanas, some of them have dates. We have quite a diverse range of sauces. All our ingredients are listed on the side of the bottle. Not the ratios though. Don't be stealing my shit. Yo, bae! So this is essentially a bottling tree for homebrew. That chili's still got some kick. So, up here we have leave-in sanitizer. You can just use water as long as it's clean, because we're going to heat treat these, which I'll talk about in a sec. Bang, bang. Let it rinse, fucking in the oven. Sanitizing your bottles is essential. You do not want any bugs or any little fucking nasty dudes in there, because that's how you get fermentation. If there's yeast in the air, there's yeast in my beard. I've talked about yeast a lot in my homebrewing sort of selection of videos. Oh man, fucking Carolina Reapers. So, you definitely don't want any cheeky little bad boys in there, right? Heat treating is the simplest way. You don't need fancy equipment. You can throw them in the oven, you can boil them. Essentially, you just want to get that temperature around 110 degrees Celsius. I believe this is correct. I'll put some numbers on the screen. And you want that for about 10-15 minutes. Let them cool slightly. You don't want them jarring. Hot but warm is still good. Keep your sauce warm. That's what we call hot loading. We're going to hot load these bottles, which is a very delightful terminology. Once the bottles aren't scalding hot to the point where they're going to burn your sauce or your implements, make sure everything is sanitized, including this, using sanitizer, and just load them up. Oh, isn't that a sight for sore eyes? It's giving me a bit of a chub. Fuck yeah, look at the color in that. Oh my god. Yeah, so like I said, you want to make sure this is nice and hot when you do this, because also you want to be a little bit quick. You don't want to be doing what I'm doing, mucking around, chatting and banging on, drinking wine like an asshole, because the longer you wait, the more stuff can get in there. Like I said, there's bacteria, there's yeast in the air, all of that shit can fucking end up in your hot sauce. So, let's get on with it. So that's how you make a fucking delicious hot sauce. So, like I said, you can manipulate the ingredients. You can do so much with this. Just make sure those ratios, the acidity is right, and the only limit is your imagination. If you make hot sauce, let me know what you guys do. Like I said, this is not any one of my sauces. Not all of these are mine. Some of these are my friends. I just love hot sauce. I'm always buying different hot sauces. But let me know what you guys like to do, if you have any hot sauce recommendations or ideas. I hope this helped you guys sort of start your hot sauce journey, or just give you a few ideas perhaps down the track. If you like this video, share it around. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, all that fucking YouTube nonsense. If you want to contribute to the channel monetarily, jump on our website and get yourself a bottle of sauce. Look how good that is. mean, it's almost empty. It's so delicious. Yeah, it's it. Grabbing a bottle of hot sauce is the best way to support Choo because not only are you helping me out, it helps me make these videos, sort of justify some of the bullshit time I spend on this, but you're also getting something back. You're not just throwing money at me to swear a lot on camera. You also get a product that is competitively priced, super delicious, 100% local to South Australia. You've seen a bit of how we make it. Like I said, we do things a lot different on a commercial scale because we want to be a lot more clean. I'm not drinking and carrying on like that. But you get the idea. Making hot sauce is easy. Hot sauce is delicious. Chilies are the fruit of life. I fucking love chilies. I love them. They're just the best. Makes you feel alive, baby. And check out all of our other videos. We might be doing more chili-based content. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I've been drinking. I've been Jacob and I've been drinking. Oh my god, what is wrong with this camera? It is fucking The autofocus is completely fucked. The microphone's fucked. Everything's fucked. Yeah, focus on my face, you fucking stupid
Choo!
Oh.